Hello, 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 and welcome to the latest installment of And Sarah Appeared. I'm in a bit of a whisper because of my voice changing the sweater weather. But I just wanted to come to you because, a lot of people are afraid to be vulnerable and talk about some of the problems that they're having because there are communities and societal communities, and especially with being a black or brown person, a lot of the times those cries for help, they get interpreted as seeking for attention. I think it is so wrong to pervert somebody's level of vulnerability and turn it into some sort of narcissistic ploy on the masses, stating that, basically you're an attention-seeking whore. At what point do we allow ourselves to have not only enough humanity in us, but enough Jesus in us to be able to say, even though I'm not able to subscribe to this level of toxicity, I'm going to send a prayer towards this individual because I may not know what it's like, or I may know what it's like to go through what they're going through, but I'm not going to totally dismiss it. And if I have to, I'll just dismiss it. We have to be conscious about seeing things from both sides of the spectrum, and we have to be conscious about how we respond when people do decide to be open, when people do decide to be vulnerable, when everything is not polished, when everything is not primed, it don't look right, and it don't follow the script of life. Everything is about following the script, sticking to cue, sticking to code. But what happens when you can't stick to it anymore? A lot of my pent up frustration and my anger and the stress that I went through is because I was sticking to the script of life so much. I was behaving when God was calling me to rebel. We throw out the term rebellion and we say that it's a bad, negative spirit, but God created rebellion. Not all rebellion is bad. Some rebellion is actually reformation. Sometimes you need to kick and buck and scream and cry in order for everything that was bound in you to come out. That's a form of deliverance. That's true deliverance. When there's a transformation, when you can keep going no matter what, when you don't even know why you're still here, but you're here, and all you can do is thank God, that's real transformation. Honesty with yourself, honesty with God, honesty with the life that you live, that's real transformation. Someone might say to you, something's wrong with you. You just a turd. Something's wrong with you. You're a canker sore. There's no need for you to be speaking. There's no purpose for your platform. You're chasing after other people. And it's like, until you get into that person's shoes, you have no clue. And until you're in that person's mind's eye, you have no clue. It doesn't matter what you observe or what you think that you're hearing or feeling or what you think is going on. It's always deeper than that. It's always deeper than that. And for those who say, I don't think I have anything positive to contribute, or who would want to hear my voice, or who would want to hear me say anything, let me tell you something. Speak anyways. Because after so many years of being bound and not being able to speak truth according to what you have observed and experienced, you are qualified to speak on your observations. And especially if you've received scars from those experiences, keep talking. Keep talking, because people may say all kinds of stuff. You're just doing this, you're just doing that. Let me tell you something. The very thing that you're afraid of might be the very thing that saved your life. I was afraid of love. I was afraid of falling in love. I had so many people in my life. I never heard no one really say a positive word to me. It was just always do this, do that. And it was expected for me to do different things, but never like really anything that was affirming me or celebrating who I was. And so I didn't really expect too much when it came from love. I didn't expect anything good because I never seen anything great or good. Even the people in my family who were married, everybody was miserable. And they let it be known. And this wasn't just like speculation or I was sitting in a dark closet and, some vision came to me. No, like they let it be known. Like openly. Like imagine being at dinner and like, you ain't touched me in 3 years. And you're just like, oh, I think it's time my mama to pick me up. Auntie and uncle is into it. Whatever. I never seen anything like positive like that. So when it came to my mindset was like misconstrued, messed up because I don't know what positive love is. I've only known what toxic love was. And every time I gave out positive love, it was punished. So my mindset always was expecting a punishment because I felt something was wrong with me because I was too nice. I never was that person that had it in me. I didn't have it in me to be me. I didn't have it in me to be vengeful. I never had none of that in me. But it came up out of me this year. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It came up out of me this year because so many years of just taking hits and being suppressed, and the very thing that I was afraid of in love happened. There were psychological and verbal abuses that I sat through. And it brought me to a point where it was like, damn, dang, this is just like, this kind of like childhood again. This kind of like adolescence. This is kind of like the one boyfriend that I did have when I was like 19, the one that I did have, unfortunately, his life was violently taken along with his brothers. And then after that, it was just kind of like people that I was like going through the motions with, just never really having a real connection. Me being sincere, but them like being like, you're a sucker, like you're too nice. And we don't care about too nice. And so I have to pray for myself because I go through a real struggle with like going over the edge of not caring about anything or anyone, and then trying to maintain that love in me. I'm skeptical about everything and everybody because before I put myself in a situation where I might regret later down the line, whether for physical or for spiritual reasons, I observe it for what it is and I really be like, okay, here we go. I'm not afraid of diving deep. I'm not afraid of being in a relationship. I actually went from having no hope of ever being in love to being okay with the fact that there is life after love has been lost, to love being reawakened in me and going back to the stage of there's still life after love. Like I have more hope now than anything, and I believe that's God's way of saying there's more for you. Like I'm not done. There's more for you. There's more to your story. It doesn't, and that's the whole thing about it. Like it doesn't matter if you're not society's status quo. It doesn't matter if you don't fit the church aesthetic. None of that matters. The church don't even fit their own aesthetic. Nobody really knows what's going on. I don't care how many conversations, how many deep conversations you have with God. His thoughts are more than the grains of sand on the ocean. So when you think you've got him all figured out, and you think you know exactly what he's doing with somebody, and you think you know exactly how the trajectory of somebody's life is going to go, here comes another pile of thoughts, another sandcastle that God has, just full of thoughts and imagination, because you're going to have to realize that the ones that don't fit your aesthetic and the ones that you don't think will ever be able to turn around, those are the very ones that God has on the forefront of his mind. That's why we're called chosen.